Okay folks, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at something a little on the unique side. I've been trying to get some yard projects done around here and I wish that I had a chainsaw. Well, let me correct that. I wish I had a chainsaw that actually worked. I ended up inheriting an old gas Poulin chainsaw, and you know, for the first few years I had it, it wasn't too terribly bad, but between the maintenance, the upkeep, trying to keep the thing running reliably, I decided it was time to make a change. So today we are going to be reviewing the DeWalt XR 20 volt maximum brushless chainsaw. Okay folks, so a couple of the highlights between this one here. The actual model number on this particular unit is going to be the DeWalt DCCS620B. Okay, so this is a 12-inch chainsaw. This guy has actually been out for a few years already. Okay, so we're gonna get started. We're gonna do an unboxing on it. We're gonna assemble it. I'll give you some general impressions, and then we're actually gonna try the thing out here. So let's get started. First things first. Let's see what DeWalt's actually giving us for our money here. So let's just cut the tape on this side. All right, let's see what we're in for here. All right, so kind of overall first impressions. You know, box isn't too bad. It's seems like it's adequate for what we're trying to do, and of course, more tape on the sides here. I can kind of feel some stuff floating around inside the box, but hey, that's kind of neither here nor there. Hopefully everything's in good shape. So in terms of purchase price on this unit, I actually ended up getting this at a local Walmart here, and cost to me on this unit was 259 bucks Canadian. I've seen some prices in the States where this thing could drop down to as low as like 99 bucks. I wish we could get that kind of deal here, but unfortunately it just wasn't in the cards. Okay, so taking a look inside the box, I'm actually really impressed because we've got an owner's manual, okay? And the chainsaw is literally assembled and ready to go. So if you actually buy one of these things, this is literally what you're getting here, all ready to go. So first of all, let's take a look here and see. So with this particular kit that I got, this unit didn't actually come with a battery, okay? The reason why I decided, hey, I'm gonna try out one of these DeWalt units is primarily because of the fact that I already have some existing batteries from their other systems. As a matter of fact, I have got a 2 amp hour unit right here that we just had from some power tools. So first impressions overall, you know what? It looks like a well-built unit. It feels really good in hand, actually. So you got your safety there. You've got your power switch. Okay, we'll take the chain cover off. Yeah, you know what? This is actually, I'm really impressed so far. Chain brake. Okay, chain brake works. And then it looks like you've got a tensioning system here. Now, one of the big things that DeWalt kind of touts with this system here is that it's supposed to have an auto tensioner for the chain. So, I mean, I could pull this cover off, but we'll be able to kind of take a look and see what we're in for in a bit here. Well, actually, okay, it says auto chain tensioner, but it looks like I do have manual adjustment for the chain tension. Right off the hop, I can see that, yeah, you get about 1 centimeter here, and when I let go, it snaps back. So it looks like it's well tensioned off of the hop, so that's good. Weight-wise, this thing actually feels really good. One hand, I can move it around. So DeWalt says this thing weighs 8.1 pounds as it sits. And I believe it. Seems pretty spot on. The batteries are where things get interesting. Now, for this particular unit, DeWalt recommends that you use the 5 amp hour battery that comes with it. I only have the little 2 amp hour batteries. Okay, so we're gonna see what this thing can actually do with a 2 amp hour battery in it. I can see on this side here, okay, we've got a spot for adding oil. What I really like about this here is that these tabs are actually all built in, it looks like. So, you know, some of them you gotta fiddle around, use a pair of pliers or a screwdriver to be able to loosen or get some of the stuff off. With the DeWalt here, everything's built right in, and it uses those same adjustment tabs or cogs. So that's really good, okay. So again, when we're talking a little bit about the weight there, like we're saying, the chainsaw, 8.1 pounds on its own. If you're using a 2 amp hour battery, the battery itself clocks in at about 1 pound, okay? The 5 amp hour, the one that comes recommended for this unit, is about 1.4 pounds, okay? So you're looking at anywhere from 9.1 to about 9.5 pounds total weight. That old Poolin that I was talking about, that unit, dry, nothing in it, was about 10.5 pounds. Add your fuel, add your oil, those sorts of things. You can right away see that this is probably going to be a lighter unit. All right, so in terms of the motor here, okay, this is their 20 volt XR line, okay? So when you look at how DeWalt breaks down their equipment or their tools, you typically have your 18 volt stuff, you're gonna have their max line, then you're gonna have your XR line, and then your atomic line at the top, or at least that's my understanding of it. The big advantage of the XR line is it's all brushless motors, okay? Brushless motors, it's really easy to tell if your equipment has a brushless motor or not, because if you ever look inside the area where the motor actually is, when you engage it, if you can see little sparks inside, those are actually the brushes that are creating that. So the brushless design's a little bit more efficient. They're less prone to overheating. They're compact, lighter, and just overall they're a more efficient design. You can get more power out of them, and the nice thing is, again, this is combined with lithium batteries, this technology really has come a long way. I grew up on a farm, and it was always gas equipment that we used, okay? Having something like this where, you know, you can just slam a battery in and it actually works, and it works efficiently, you know, I'm hoping I'm going to be impressed. So I will have to add some oil to this unit, but just initially, let's slap in the battery. It's fully charged. And if you take a look here, you actually do have room for a larger battery. Again, DeWalt says you can go 5 amp hour. I've heard some guys shoehorning like a 6 or even an 8 amp hour battery in here. So again, if you are into the DeWalt ecosystem and you've got those DeWalt batteries already, you know, it's a no-brainer to go with a piece of equipment like this. Okay, so let's see. Let's try giving this a little shot here. Uh-oh. Oh, chain brake, I bet. Let's go ahead and engage that. Okay, well, not cool so far. Huh, that's a little disappointing. I thought it was gonna be showtime as soon as I fired that up. Huh, well, we'll have to look into see what's going on there and why that's not working. Let me just double check. Oh, hey, there we go. Okay, so initially, a couple things. Don't know if you guys can hear that or not. Noise overall, not bad. And again, this is completely subjective, how I'm reviewing noise here, compared to my ears. Definitely quieter than having a gas-powered motor running. In terms of trigger lag, from the time I hit that trigger till I spool up, I'd probably say probably about 2.5 seconds. Okay, so not bad. Just something you want to keep in mind before you engage it. Okay, so overall, you know what? I'm assuming it was just something with the chain brake I had to figure out, but you know, not super loud and definitely seems manageable. Now, something to keep in mind with a unit like this, I'm being realistic about what I'm asking it to do, okay? I'm not gonna go dropping, you know, 12-inch, 14-inch, 16-inch diameter trees with this guy, because I do only have a 12-inch bar. Now, I'm curious to see something here. They say it's a 12-inch bar, okay? Let's see how much of that 12 inches is actually usable, okay? So if I measure this guy out, yeah, it says it's 12 inches, but, oof, I think I only have about 10 3/4 inches that are actually usable. Another thing to kind of keep in mind too here, if I'm taking a look at these bumper spikes, okay, typically on a chainsaw, these bumper spikes will let you kind of dig into the wood to kind of help you with the cut. These are just plastic, okay? I really don't think these are gonna be digging into much, but again, you know, I'm primarily gonna be using this thing for limbing, maybe taking down smaller stuff, 4-inch, 6-inch trees. If you live in I'm gonna call it a city lot, this is probably gonna be, you know, perfect for what I'm gonna be using it for. Another nice thing I also noticed here is you got a nice spot here for your oil indicator, because again, you got to make sure you're running chain oil in these things. So overall, so far folks, you know what? For my money, when I look at the build quality, and again, everything's solid here, nothing really feels cheap or chintzy. The grip is nice. Tool actually feels really well balanced. And I mean, mind you, that could change if I have a bigger battery on here. Obviously weight's gonna go up, but like I feel like I could use that one-handed, not that I would. But again, I don't think you're gonna get too fatigued actually operating something like this. All right, so with that said, folks, I'm going to go ahead, we're gonna oil this sucker up, and we're gonna put it to the test. Okay, so I've got the DeWalt here. So first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna oil them up, make sure that that the bar is gonna be well lubricated. So again, I like these quick adjustments on the DeWalt. Those are really nice. So I'll open that up there. All right, I'll give them a little top off here. Perfect. Okay. Very convenient in terms of the oil filter. I really do like that. Okay, so pull that off. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. All right, so for the first test, what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut through a standard 4x4. Reason I'm gonna start with a 4x4 is because this is what DeWalt kind of rates the saw for. With the 5 amp hour battery, they say that it'll do 90 cuts. You'll get through 90 4x4 cuts with the 5 amp hour. I'm using the 2 amp hour battery because again, that's what I've got, right? If I did the math on it, I should be able to get through about 37 of those cuts with a 2 amp hour. Now, the big challenge here is you're gonna induce some voltage sag or some battery sag when you're using a lower amperage battery, meaning that the tool is probably not going to be getting a full 20 volts. But I mean, again, for short stuff around the yard like this, it'll probably work just fine. So again, fully charged battery. Let's see what this thing can do here. Okay, so we're gonna start with the 4x4 first. All right, let's see what we're gonna do. Okay. All right, well, that's not too bad. I mean, we were able to get through that cut. I noticed a little bit of chatter, right? And it's kind of hard to tell where's the chatter coming from. Is it because of the chain, or is it because my chain speed's not what it needs to be, right? But in all fairness, you know what? It did cut through. It cut through relatively cleanly. I think it chipped off a little bit at the end there. But hey, I got through it. So let's go ahead and see what happens with the 4x4, or rather the railroad tie here. So the railroad tie is about 6 inches by 9 inches. Okay, so significantly thicker material. I think I'm gonna be working this guy pretty hard here. So let's go ahead and see how this one does. Okay, wow, all right, it made it through. That's awesome. So I was going through a very thick portion there, but you can see it was able to take that down. So think about it. If you're doing work around the yard and you had a relatively big tree that came down, I think I could confidently say you'll get through it, especially if all you have is a 2 amp hour battery. You know, was it the fastest cutting through there? Not necessarily, but you know what? It did get through. You know what? Let's try one more. My only gripe with these DeWalt batteries is you don't have an indicator on them to see how much juice you have left. And again, that was that was a bit of work for this fella. So let's go ahead. We'll run one more cut through, and then we'll kind of get into closing thoughts here. All right, so yeah, it definitely has enough oomph to get through it. Again, you gotta exercise a little bit of patience when you make those big cuts, but it did it. So overall, would I recommend the 20 volt DeWalt? You know what? I'm gonna say yes. Based on the fact that if you're already bought into the ecosystem, you've got DeWalt power tool batteries already, this is a no-brainer. These are a huge expense when it comes to these power tools. If you're into that ecosystem already, you know what? It's a functional, it's a capable tool. It appears to me that it's well built. Time's gonna tell, obviously, if it you know, survives everything that I'm gonna put it through. But initially, hey, I'm probably running this thing way harder than what it would be intended to be. I would love to actually get a higher capacity battery for this, and odds are I probably will down the road, you know, depending on the powered equipment. Because we have DeWalt power tools at home already, ideally, my long-term goal is to move away from any of the gas-powered stuff. They make a really well-reviewed mower. I'm personally waiting for the 60-volt version. The 60-volt flex volt batteries should work in these 20-volt pieces of equipment. Due to how the batteries are wired, they can run either 20 volts or 60 volts. I personally think a 60-volt mower will hammer through anything I could throw at it residentially. Plus, again, taking that voltage sag into account, I think it would be awesome in something like this. You know, if we get that chain speed up a little bit, then maybe even a bigger bar and chain, but we'll see what happens. So for now, folks, again, if you're into this ecosystem, if you got DeWalt stuff at home, I think you're gonna be happy with this unit. So folks, thank you so much for tuning in. Again, if you like the content, please consider subscribing, giving me a big thumbs up. It definitely helps with the algorithm. Thanks so much. See you in the next one.